Hey, this is Joe Hernandez, the voice of 𝐓𝐷𝐷𝐷 in Zelda Breath of the Wild, asking you to subscribe to 𝐓𝐲𝐴G𝐵 and listen to our interviews and episodes together on this Zelda podcast, the Hylian Gamecast. And for all the latest up-to-date news on your favorite Goron, be sure to follow me at Joe Hernandez VO.
Hello everybody and welcome. We are going to be talking about some Breath of the Wild 2 controversy from a lot of I don't think clickbait is quite the word to use, but it's a lot of misinformation that has been spread by some podcast interviews or articles and stuff like that, and everyone kind of not correctly understanding the source of the information, and it kind of spread and people took it out of context and everything. And it had to do with some of the voice actors from Breath of the Wild for the Spanish dub version. As a lot of people know, we've had almost all of the voice actors from the English version of Breath of the Wild and presumably Breath of the Wild 2, because obviously they're going to be returning for their new thing. At least Zelda, at the very least. Daniel disappeared. All right.
Just go on without him. Keep going.
So we've had a lot of the voice actors on here, and they've actually given us some information from those past interviews that we can recall to give some factual information to kind of correct the misunderstanding that's been going on with these voice actors. So we will go through the news of what happened, the update on it, and then we will give our correct version of it and why people misunderstood it and how it can actually be corrected or whatever. Because as you guys know here on the channel, we do a lot of correcting, as you can say, when we see something that is clickbait, a lie, nonsense, made up, whatever. Daniel and I specifically, Chiblima sometimes chips in. We will just absolutely crush whatever the fake news or clickbait is and give factual information to correct it with like screenshots and proof on screen. That's one thing that I would say makes us different from a lot of other Zelda channels and websites. Whenever we make a video, in most of our videos, everything that we say, whenever we quote something or we say something, we always try to have a screenshot of an interview or whatever it is that we're talking about. We try to literally have it on screen to prove it. So like, if we say something, you can't say, no, that's not true, or you're making that up, because we try to have it like literally on screen for proof, as evidence. Which is apparently what led to a lot of this misunderstanding, because these people apparently did not do that. So, what is it? What's up, Daniel?
What? No, I was just chuckling because you're right. That's exactly what happened here.
Yeah. So that is why I would say our information is reliable. And then a lot of people are like, "Oh, you guys don't know anything about Zelda, blah blah blah." Or we'll make a quote from something, and it's like, no, we literally had the people who worked on the game on our channel. Like, we know what we're talking about. So, and then other stuff. But anyways, so this from IGN, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 voice actors say they've finished their work on the game. Update. The initial report appears to be incorrect. So original story first. Spanish voice actors for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 have said their work on the game is done, perhaps indicating that the game is a significant way through its development cycle. Reported by Game Reactor Mark Navarro, Rivali, and Nerea Alfonso, Zelda, told the hosts of Uncafe Con Nintendo podcast that they had finished their work on the still undated sequel before questioning whether they should have revealed that information. As pointed out by VGC, localized voice acting is often one of the final tasks for game audio design departments. This doesn't necessarily mean that the game as a whole is close to complete, but it may indicate that Breath of the Wild 2 is a significant way through production. That idea is supported by the fact that Nintendo began hiring for a new Zelda project back in 2018. If those job listings referred to Breath of the Wild 2, it implies the game has been in production for some time. This is the stupidest thing I've heard. I hear every website saying something like this. IGN, very professional website. Friends with a lot of people there, or at least a lot of new people. I've literally interviewed the owner of the website. I hate when people do this and they talk about information that's like, you should know this isn't true, or like, this is like, you're misrepresenting it, where it says, this implies the game's been in production for some time. About hiring people for the project back in 2018. Literally, when they finished Breath of the Wild, Nintendo came out and said, hey, we're working on the next game.
Yeah, like they always do. They've said time and time again, like, hey, we always start the next one, like, as soon as we're done one. Yeah. They launch right into the next one. They don't... It's not like they sit around for 2 years doing nothing.
Yes, but we
finished Zelda game. Well, now what?
They say it with every...
I don't have a job now.
they say it with every Zelda game. But, like, again, with Breath of the Wild, they literally came out and said that they were working on... Like the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Even whenever, I don't have it with me at the moment, but in the book, like at the very end of the Breath of the Wild book, it's like, hey, we're working on the next game, blah, blah, blah. So it's like they're referring to this report about hiring something in 2018, and they're like, it implies the game's been in production for some time. It's like, no, that, like, it does imply that, but why are you even saying it? Like, that's old information. When they finished the game, they literally said they were starting on the next one. Like, it just, like, it gives me a headache, because this is IGN. Like, this is literally the #1 gaming website in the world. And it's like... But then you see at the bottom here, it says Joe Scribbles is IGN's executive editor. Joe Scribbles is a made-up name. Just so everybody knows. Like, that's like a fake thing for... Like, that's...
Is it? Is it?
Yes.
Joe Scribbles. Is that actually fake?
Joe Scribbles. Scribbles. Like, scribbling on a thing.
Yeah, but it's spelled like...
Scribbles.
Scribbles.
Scribble. Like, it's like rebels with SK in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're starting a Scribellion.
No, like, so you guys know, like, all of the kind of funny people came from IGN.
Yeah.
And whenever I first started my channel, like, I did some videos with them, and I was always watching their stuff. Greg Miller and the rest of them was like the main people at IGN, and every time they would read a news story, like we're reading now, anytime the name Joe Scribbles came up, they would always be like, Joe Scribbles, a made-up name, and then they would read the news story.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, so, like, because it's like a thing...
Is that like an inside joke with you then? Because, like...
No, it's not an inside joke, it's really a made-up name.
But he's actually a person, maybe he just has a stage name.
If you think about it, every name is made up. Go back far enough.
But continuing we got
a super chat, Jesse.
Oh,
we got a super chat.
Yeah, anytime we get a super chat while I'm reading a story, just interrupt me.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
It's from Just X, $2. He says, 3 Zelda games to play for the rest of your lives. That's the hardest decision I've ever have to make.
Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword,
Twilight Princess.
Okay, that was very easy for you.
Wind Waker.
Okay,
Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild.
A Link to the Past. And...
You're fired.
I think I'm gonna...
Why would you pick a 2D game?
I think I'm gonna say Link's Awakening on the Switch.
Put it to a vote.
I really like...
As co-owner of the podcast, Chibalima, you own 1/4 of the podcast. Put it to a vote. Fire Daniel for picking a 2D Zelda game.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with... A Link to the Past is a classic. It set so many foundational...
You should fire me because I have, like, zero knowledge of 2D Zelda games because I never played any of them except for, like, A Link to the Past.
But why would you pick a 2D game over a 3D game?
Masterpiece.
A Link to the Past piece. Exactly. It's a really good game. I don't fault him for that.
I have a lot of nostalgia for it. That's why I chose it. It's the first Zelda game I ever played. It has a very special place in my heart and on my shirt. So it's an easy pick.
Link's Awakening for Switch, that's the decision I question.
All right, fine. The Game Boy Advanced version or Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
A Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance added the voice acting,
and it's zoomed in.
And it's zoomed, and there's the screen crunch. The voice. Why did they add Link's voice to it?
Because it was a 32-bit system instead of.
It was so unnecessary.
They wanted to use the extra processing power because it was a 32-bit system instead of a 16-bit.
Bad though. Yeah. It's not good.
But anyways, let's. Did you give all your 3?
There was my 3.
All right. Fast. So quick recap: Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, Tubes.
Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess.
Daniel.
Breath of the Wild, A Link to the Past, and Link's Awakening, the Switch version.
Fired.
And that was a hard choice to pick that one, but
vote in the chat. Give an F to fire Daniel, like a big fail. F in the chat to fire Daniel.
If they choose to fire me by pressing F, all I get is respect for them. It's press F to respect.
Or C for 𝐓𝐼𝐢 should play 2D Zelda more often.
Oh, definitely. Just no, wait, don't put those in the chat because YouTube's system will think it's spam and then a bunch of people will get banned.
All right. So to finish here.
No, that's a real thing. Okay, there was I think it was Markiplier, who I don't really watch very much, but he had a thing where that happened. A bunch of people he made them vote in his chat, and so a bunch of people spammed a bunch of things, and then they all got banned automatically by YouTube because YouTube assumed they were bots and just mass banned a bunch of his viewers.
Aren't all of the viewers bots anyways?
All right. Everyone, that's cool. we got a few people to fire you, but people are wanting to keep you.
Oh no! I just don't want them to get banned.
Everyone wants me to play more 2D Zelda games, so I guess I'm just gonna fucking.
I'm on board with that. Play more Zelda games, 2D or 3D. Just play more Zelda games. That's the answer.
Okay. So to finish
I'm gonna
this,
do it on an emulator the whole time.
Nintendo's been very quiet about the sequel since its announcement at E3 2019, but we know the team has been drawing inspiration from Red Dead Redemption 2 that producer 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 won't deny that it could have a co-op mechanic or that you could play as Zelda herself. There's far more we don't know about the game, but here's everything we learned about Breath of the Wild 2 so far. So the thing that I was going to say is, so we have interviewed voice actors for Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2. We had most recently Joe on a couple months ago. He does Daruk, Yunobo. Those are the Gorons in the game. And does he do other voice?
I think it was just Daruk and Yunobo.
Yeah. And then we had Sean Chiplock on the podcast for an interview, and then I had him on a second video where we live streamed Smash Brothers, but he did an extensive Q&A while he was on the live stream doing Smash Bros.
He also did an extensive killing everyone.
Everybody.
So embarrassing times.
Everyone.
So the way that it works is, so basically, so the update here is for IGN. This is to update the thing because it says it appears and look, this is bad. This is even IGN admitting that they messed up because they didn't go back to the source. Like, this is how there is a thing called journalism.
Mm-hmm.
You go to college for it.
I did not.
Well, like a lot of people at IGN had, like Greg Miller. He went through the greatest.
You're the greatest.
No, like he went through Mizzou, which is like the greatest journalism school in the world at the time. The update says, it appears our initial report about the work on the Spanish voice acting for Breath of the Wild 2 missed some nuance about the language used in the original interview, while some had taken Navarro and Alfonso's words to mean that they've either started or finished their work on the game. They do not confirm that fact during the interview. Indeed, the tone of the interview implies that they may have even been joking about their work on the sequel. As such, the interview can't be taken as guidance on the status of the voice actor's work, or the voiceover work, nor as guidance on how far through development the game may be. IGN apologizes for the error. So here, quick, easy thing to explain what happened. They were asked, hey, how's work on Breath of the Wild 2? They're like, we can't say anything. Basically, like, we have nothing to say, or whatever. Or like,
NDAs exist, guys. Like, they can't talk about that stuff.
Yeah, maybe
they just can't.
It seems like maybe they joked and they're like, oh yeah, we already finished that. Haha, no, seriously, we can't say anything. Where they're like, oh, we don't even, like, just some joke to be like, oh yeah, we're done with that, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh no, we're joking, blah blah blah. So here's the real thing. When we interviewed for the original Breath of the Wild, some of the voice actors, the way they would talk about it, and this isn't just for Breath of the Wild, this is for other games as well. You'll go in, record some lines. You may think that you're finished, get all your lines recorded, and then Nintendo or PlayStation or whoever will be like, okay, that's it. Great job, we're done, we got all of your lines. And then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months later, you get a call and they're like, hey, we decided to change the script around. We're going to change up the ending of the game, or we're going to add some new side quests to the game, or we're going to whatever. Like, there's a lot of talk from Nintendo about how Miyamoto would, like, 6 months before the game's supposed to release, they upend the T-table is the thing, which is like, the game would be like 75% done, and Miyamoto would come in and be like, no, let's just completely change this. Like, take Kakariko Village, put it over here. Instead of having Link start in Kakariko Village, have him start in Ordon Village, and then put Lake Hylia down here and put the castle in the center of the thing. And then they're like, the game's supposed to ship in like 6 months. And he's like, just do it. And then the game gets delayed for like a year. So stuff like that happens all the time on Zelda. That's why Zelda's notorious for being delayed. And with those delays and the changes of the story and everything, obviously the voice acting would have to be changed too. So even if a voice actor in his mind's like, yeah, I am 100% done, they loved my voice acting, I'm finished, I'm paid, blah blah blah, moving on to my next game for some other studio. And then 2 or 3 months later they get a call and they're like, hey, we need you to come back in. We rewrote the script, we added in a few extra scenes, or we completely scrapped the ending of the game and we're doing it this way, or we want you to come back in and do DLC.
I need you to come back in and just record the line, Daruk's protection is ready to roll. Yeah. I just need you to come in and record that line.
So it could literally be a thing like that, to where, let's say these Spanish voice actors were like, yeah, we're 100% done with the game. Let's say that was true. 2 months from now, they could be called back in to re-record the entire script because Nintendo decided to change the thing. Like, it means nothing if they are 100%, if they say they're 100% done. And even if it's just the one voice actor, like, they could still have, like, need the other voice actors to finish their stuff. And then you also have stuff like in Breath of the Wild, halfway through development, they almost completely changed the story around, because whenever they showed off the Guardian, it was just supposed to be a simple enemy in the game, like Lizalfos or Octoroks or whatever, because like they literally said, it was just supposed to be like an Octorok from the original Zelda, to where they're everywhere, they're dangerous, blah blah blah. But then fans loved them so much that they decided to build the story around the Guardians. That's why, because after that, we got the Sheikah Slate, because if you look back at the trailer when we first seen the Guardian, there was no Sheikah Slate. It wasn't until the Twilight Princess HD reveal, and then we seen that the game was delayed, that we seen Link with the Sheikah Slate. And it was delayed because they had to add in all of the extra story, and they changed the game around and stuff. That was the reason for that specific delay, because that's when they changed the story, added the Sheikah Slate, all of this Sheikah tech and stuff. So they could go in, record all their lines for the original game, and then Aonuma's like, no, we're going to change the game, make it all about the Sheikah Slate and the Guardians and blah, blah, blah. So bring back in the voice actors and have them record all of these lines instead. So that's how it goes. Hi.
We got a super chat.
Yeah.
Dragon Fist.
Great,
9.
I was done. So great timing. I was done.
It is good time. They said, can't wait for more Breath of the Wild 2 news. Great content, guys, and not Shublue. No, they didn't say not Shublue. God bless.
They should have. No, I'm just
Feel when you're not the guys.
Rude. But thank you, Dragonfist. Thank you so much for that super chat and the nice words. Words are nice. It's much love. That's a picture. That's a picture. Thank you. Thank you for that, Jesse.
What?
Good picture.
What? That's a good picture.
Oh, no. Okay, so which game is better? Everyone, vote in the chat.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess. Which game is better?
It's because you chose Twilight Princess and I chose Link's Awakening.
No, it's because I randomly had booklets. I randomly had the booklets behind me, so...
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. So this is the question for, like how at the end of a video, like at the end of this video segment, some people ask a question, like Hylian on the Geek Apprentice, when she used to do her videos on the channel. She would have the question at the beginning. This is the question for this video. Everyone that made it to the end of the video, comment below, vote which is better, Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess.
Don't make me choose Papi.
It can be 2D. It can be Link's Awakening. It can be Link's Awakening DX, or it can be Link's Awakening for Switch.
Okay.
And it can be Twilight Princess for GameCube, Twilight Princess for Wii, Twilight Princess HD for Wii U, Twilight Princess Unofficial HD, made by NVIDIA for the NVIDIA Shield.
Okay, but here's the thing. I really love the story of Link's Awakening.
I really love you.
And everything. Like, that's the story that really got me feeling things.
That's fair.
Okay. Twilight Princess, though, double claw shots.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
Double
claw shot. Twilight Princess had a good story too, but when I'm playing Twilight Princess, I was never like, oh my gosh, this was a really good moment. Just all of it was like, oh yeah, this is cool stuff. But I was never like, oh my gosh, never. There was never a gasp moment for me.
Yeah.
But there definitely is, but at the same time, also Twilight Princess HD has some really good amiibo support, and you got the double hard mode with Ganondorf amiibo and hero mode, but also there's just some I can't do this. I'm gonna go back and forth about these two games.
Matt Fry in the chat said Nintendo should bring back booklets for their games. They do. It's called those huge, thick guidebooks you have to buy for like $20 separately.
$20 is undershooting that price range
for the creating a champion books and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's way more than $20.
I bought mine for way more than $20.
Yeah, but yours came with all the balls.
It's called an orb.
Well, I don't.
Okay, super chat. The Icarus, humans aside. And so none of us, except for Kayla. How come? No, I'm just kidding. How come Gorons are the only race in Zelda that never really change / evolve? They typically look the same throughout the whole series.
There's a theory that the Magmar... No, that's a Pokemon.
Are you gonna say the Magmas?
Yeah.
What about the Magmas?
Aren't the Magmas
that they could have evolved from...
But the Magmas and the Gorons both exist in Skyward Sword.
Okay.
Yeah, there are
both. Like Goron.
Goron.
Maybe they're just like the Hylians. The Hylians never evolved the...
And you know what I think it is that the Gorons, they're like the tardigrades only giant of the Zelda universe.
Maybe they're
just
already perfect.
That's the thing. They're virtually indestructible creatures, and they just have no evolutionary need to change. Whereas the Zoras, for example, probably have a lot of weaknesses that they've had to adapt to or whatnot, right?
They were forced.
And yeah, whereas the Gorons, they literally can live and thrive on a volcano and be like, yep, this is Death Mountain. It's called Death Mountain. That's my home. It's a great place to chill. It gets hot here sometimes. Oh, we're all having a great time. Mm-hmm. That's the Gorons. They got nothing to worry about.
Have there been any other races that haven't evolved? Like there's like the Deku Scrubs and stuff. Like Deku Scrubs are enemies, but they're also intelligent.
Yeah, I guess it's mostly just like the Zora,
because you can buy their homes and their territory, and Majora's Mask, and they sell you stuff. But then there's some that's like 2, 3, 1.
Do Deku Scrubs? Is it that they didn't go extinct? They were bought out. They were bought out of Hyrule. All their land got bought. They migrated.
Peace out.
I don't know.
Skull Kids come from the one thing, so that can't be.
I'm really liking this. Ace in the chat. We were watching Daniel exclaim death.
Also, I accidentally said the F word. You have to edit it out.
Oh no!
I said it really quietly, but it's there.
Oh no! Oh no!
Fun.
Oh boy!
Hey, Choops.
What?
Wait, what are you gonna say, Daniel?
Oh, what were you gonna say, Jesse?
He was gonna ask me something, and then Daniel interrupted.
I was gonna probably say we should do the next news story.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say.
Oh my god!
Hey Daniel, what is your bookshelf thing to your right? Is that your right?
This is my right.
Your bookend thing. You see, it's slanted and it has like the black and then the gold outline going through. What is it? Is that like Zelda related? Because it looks like the Wii U, like the Zelda Wii U gamepad. How it has like the gold trim.
Oh.
So is that?
It's not.
It's not Zelda
related. It's gonna be really disappointing. It's gonna disappoint everybody. Oh, everything's falling over. It's very just plain. It's it looks like it's stitched almost.
Okay.
Very.
It reminded me of like the black Ocarina of Time. 3DS.
What was that noise that Daniel just made?
Which noise?
It's his mating call.
Okay, are we doing the next news story?
I have the Ocarina of Time.
Can you do the first 4 figures, Choops?
Tubes.
So
do it.
What you do is
read. That's what you do.
There's nothing to read, but I'll talk about it.
Read.
Yeah, you so like if you click on the thing and go to the source or whatever and like
the sauce.
Go to the sauce. Yeah, it's with Go Nintendo. Yeah, okay, I got it. There's not a lot to talk about, but I'll mention some things.
And then there's the other one, like the Majora's Mask. Like if you click on it, it also takes you to that one. And then
click and read and talk. Take us away, Chewie.
Let's do it.
That's it for now, but a lot of rumors, news, and details are slowly leaking out. So please, stay subscribed and notified, and join our Discord to make sure you stay up to date on all Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 news. And you can find our Zelda podcast, the Hylian Gamescast, here on YouTube and on iTunes, where we have had many guests who have worked on the Zelda series, and have shared a lot of amazing stories about voice acting, such as Patricia Somerset voice acting as Zelda, Mike Drucker on Zelda's writing or translation team, coming up with the jokes in the game, stories behind the names of characters that he created. Please subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you. If you are a fan of our Zelda videos like this, Zelda Theories, our Zelda podcast, the Hylian Gamescast on iTunes, we would all really appreciate your support at patreon.com/GameOverJesse. That and buying our t-shirts will get you and your YouTube or Twitch a shout out every week on our Hylian Gamescast. And if you send in a photo of yourself in our Game Over Jesse or Hylian Gamescast t-shirt, we can use it for promotion at the end of some of our videos.